Okay, here we have another video explaining Species Counterpoint 4, and here I have an example of good student work in Species Counterpoint 4. This example is in the key of C. Again, in Species Counterpoint 4, you need to compose half notes against a given whole note line. What happens is that the half notes explore the use of suspension. So you're going to use ties to tie over the bar line, and the downbeats can now be dissonant intervals. Dissonant intervals in Species Counterpoint are 2, 4, 7, and 9. So here's an instance where the student starts out on an octave, C to C, maintains the C via the tie, suspends it over the bar line. The cantus moves upward. The interval is now a 7. And now the student releases the tension down into the 6. So the dissonance has to happen on the downbeat. And the upbeat is the resolution and must be consonant. The student ties over again. The cantus shifts up. The new interval is a 4. The student resolves the dissonance down to a 3. You have to eventually break with the use of suspension in order to ascend and create some contrary motion, or reach scale degree 5, which is your overall goal, your melodic goal. Scale degree 5, again, we know that has utmost tension in the key. Nice series of 5-6 suspensions. In this case, what's happening here is that the tied note, or the E in this case, is a consonant downbeat. So this is another option. You don't have to necessarily have dissonant suspensions. You can also have consonant suspensions as well. And this is a chain of sixths. The student eventually leaps up to reach the climax. Let's take a look at this example. This is a good example where the student does use some dissonant suspensions here and here and here, but then uses consonant suspensions as well. So one more time. Okay, very nice, very pleasing. Another point to note about Species Counterpoint 4 is you do not want to leap off a dissonant suspension. It always has to resolve downward by step. You also want to avoid putting a dissonant tone on the upbeat or on the second half note. You want to place your consonant interval on your upbeat. You sustain, and then you can generate your dissonance over the bar line into the downbeat and resolve it down by step. Again, resolutions are typically down by step. I also wanted to point out that if you're going to skip in your melody, it has to happen within the measure, and it has to involve 2 consonant intervals. So here's in a case where you have a downbeat 3 and you skip to the octave. Here's where you have a downbeat 6 and you skip to the 10th. Downbeat 10, skip to a 6. Okay? All right, one more playing and we'll move on.